Alright, everybody, welcome to episode of Psykos Platters 265. Always powered by coffee each and every time. The episode is going to be titled Signed LPs and a Plea. You have to forgive me, okay? These last few weeks have not really been good for me in my mental state and family stuff and illnesses and things. So I'm sorry that I'm not on as much as I'd like to. I miss you guys in the VC. I do. I love you guys. I really, really do. I want to show you. This is we're gonna do signed LPs and a couple signed CDs too that have recently come into my being in the last few weeks. Okay. Once again, forgive me. All right. So let's see here. Where do I want to start? Okay. I had a friend of mine go off and give me a box of albums. Seriously. She's like, I can't do anything with these. Have them. So I'm like, awesome. Most of the box I kept. There was some that just were beyond saving, and I mean literally. And unfortunately, I mean literally, they were garbage. But there was some really cool ones in there too, including 2 signed country albums. I like country. I like old country. What do I mean by old country? To me, pre-1980. For some reason, 80 seems to be the cutoff for old country and new country, okay? I'm not the one that determined it, but it just, in my opinion, that's what I'm thinking. 80 is the cutoff here. Some other people would go off and say later on that, well, it changed again once Garth Brooks came on the scene, and that might be the case too, okay? Because I like some 80s country, but not too much. So when I found, and the record is trashed, but I got it, like I said, for the cover. Pee-wee King Jam Art Pictures presents songs from the movie Country and Western Hoedown. Now, I showed this album to Doug Fields, Vinyl Grotto host, and at that time I did not know, here's the front, here's the back, when this was put out. Well, thankfully enough, Discogs and a few other information. 1967, this came out. In 1967, and from what I'm led to believe, Pee-wee King did a short promotional tour for this movie. Other than Pee-wee King, the only other name that sounded recognizable to me from that movie in 67 is Red Stewart. There were a handful of other ones. Not only did Pee-wee sign it, but I guess the girls here too. That's why I think this was done at the premiere, or like I said, one of the promotional appearances for the movie. The other one here, from 1988 on Warner Brothers, Number Ones by Conway Twitty. That's right. This is actually my second Twitty signature I have. This is the front, this is the back. Someone told me a long time ago that Conway Twitty performed tons. A lot of small towns he performed in. In fact, I can tell you, it was kind of funny actually in a way, when I've come across things in the past of county fair appearances or high school gymnasium appearances and stuff like that. I saw a lot for Conway Twitty and Farron Young, believe it or not, too. I don't have a Farron autograph. I think Sonny James is also in that batch too. they just went everywhere. And, well, that's kind of cool. And I'm glad to have this Conway in my collection, too. Let's do some signed CDs, and then I'm going to show you what I got in the mail. Okay? This one here, I picked this up for $1, I think it was. The place was shutting down. It was an antique mall. It just didn't do real well. In this antique mall, though, man, oh man, there was there was an overpriced booth. Normally, I can't stand those things, you know, overpriced vinyl booth, like they. And that was the first time, though, in collecting that I ever came across both early 1960s Chantel's albums. And if you know who Chantel's are, they were a girl group. East Coast girl group. But I was like, holy moly. And one side of each album was perfect. The other one scratched to holy hell. I'm like, damn it. Because I would have loved to have gotten them. And everything in the place was 50% off. But still, even with the 50% off, it would have been 20 and 30 a piece. I'm like, no, it's not worth it. Sorry. So I found this, and it says, Dance with Leon Martin and Friends. Now, Leon Martin, I guess, actually has been around since the 50s as well. I did a little research on this. He dabbled in rockabilly and a bunch of other things, but he has special guests, Bruce Chanel, Larry Henley from the New Beats, Jimmy Hall from Wet Willie, are all on this CD. And Bruce Chanel and Leon Martin and Larry Henley are all signed this CD. And I thought that was pretty cool. Bruce Chanel's still around, believe it or not. Larry Henley passed in 2014. This was a pre-order that I picked up. And at that time, it was $20. I pre-ordered this sucker before Christmas. And it came out in late January. I can now say that I actually have a Genesis autograph. The new Steve Hackett, At the Edge of Light, signed. Here's the front. Here's the back. This came from the UK. Including postage, $20. That's all. Haven't had a chance to listen to this yet? This will be a future Psycho Platter album review episode. So, okay. The last part of this anyway. Alright. So, I went off, excuse me for being off camera a second. I went off and there was a concert that was happening in Missouri. I live in Northwest Arkansas. And I wanted to go so bad. They were playing for 2 nights. But there just was no way I was going to be able to get up there. Unfortunately, there was some family obligations and some medical stuff going on. So I did a long shot. I wrote a letter. Okay? I wrote a letter. And I'm going to tell you what it is really quick. Dear Head East. Yeah, the band Head East from the 70s. Classic lineup, Roger, John, Steve, and Mike. I've been a big fan of the band since the mid-70s, hearing your music on the radio in Chicagoland and getting flat as a pancake when I was about 10, when it first came out. Was supposed to attend the show, but due to unforeseen family illnesses, will not be able to attend. I was wondering if I could kindly request these LP covers to be autographed. Would mean very much to me, and I even said to Paul would be appreciated. Once again, I apologize that I'm missing a great show. But as my age-old motto, family first, still holds true. Thank you very much for your time and patience. Have great shows. God bless. Sincerely, me. Well, I got a little note from Roger Boyd, who is the last original member. Well, that's not entirely true either, though, but he's the main one in Head East, still, that's been there all these years. I've actually heard sometimes now drummer Steve Houston will show up at gigs too. So you have sometimes 2 of the 5 members. But in late March, 4/5 of the original lineup came back together, and they called it the Flat as a Pancake Reunion Tour. It was everybody but the late Dan Burney, who was the bass player, and he passed away in 2003. And believe it or not, that was the first time I saw Head East. And I remember that night they dedicated the show to 3 people: Johnny Cash, John Ritter, and Dan Burney, who all died in the same week. And so, but everyone else from the lineup signed. And Roger wrote, "Paul, sorry you couldn't make it. Hope your family turns positive. Glad you love our music, Roger." And you know what? To me, this just is totally awesome. They went above and beyond. So let me show you. What they did was, and I didn't expect this, the current lineup, which Roger, like I said, is the original member, then the current lineup, and the rest of the updated Head East signed the front, and the classic members signed the back. And on each one of them, they wrote a little tribute thing about Dan on here too. Here's the Get Yourself Up album. Excuse me. And then here's the back where they signed all of it. I actually enjoyed Head East live. I did. What they did with this one was the classic members signed in the gatefold, which I thought was kind of cool. And then, of course, lastly, I had to send a copy of Flat as a Pancake. Like I said, I was about 10 years old when this first came out, roughly. And I enjoyed it immensely. And what I really, really like is what they did with this. And you know what I'm told? That diner is still there. It's called the Olivet Diner, if I remember correctly. I don't even know if it would go off and say to me where exactly it's located. But the Olivet Diner is still there and standing. So, once again, I'm very grateful to Head East, current lineup and classic lineup. I heard a rumor that it was recorded, possibly CD, DVD. I hope so. I know the last thing I think I remember, they were going to do 15 concerts with the classic lineup. So, here's my plea. I normally don't ask this. I really, really don't. I have posted this on my Facebook. I posted it on my Twitter. And I'm going to post it probably for a couple episodes in the VC. Due to my wife Jessica's untimely death January 28th, we're starting to have financial problems. I am not one to spend money willy-nilly. In fact, I'm going to tell you something. I'm pretty responsible. The bills I try to pay exactly on time. I try to do this. Okay, I've been doing this for years. But I guess what I'm getting at is this. I have posted a GoFundMe to the Jessica Pease Memorial Fund. That is my wife. And she had bills, car payments, and other stuff relating to her passing. I would be grateful for any and all donations. They have been going into the proper places. I haven't had much, but I have been putting them where they need to be. I hope this is perfectly legal to do here on YouTube. I do not want the YouTube police on me. I will post a link to the GoFundMe in the comments, hopefully, or in the video itself. I probably will remind this for the next 2 to 3 episodes. And then I won't say any more about it. But if you can help in any way, it'd be greatly appreciative. I love you, VC. And I know that I'm not the only one that's had tragedy befall them. I'm not going to speak of who. But I also know someone else that has had somebody near and dear to them pass. And I'm trying to help them as well. So, like I said, the GoFundMe, I'll put it in the video below, the link, okay, please? Alright, thank you. I appreciate it. Alright, one last thing I want to bring up real quick. Probably because due to my inactivity on the channel, I went under 600 subs. I did actually have over 600 subs when I started that 600 sub contest. So I will honor the 600 sub contest. I will, but I might have to push the deadline farther away, and I apologize. There's been some things that are going on that need to be tended to. Also, in mid-May, I will be returning to Illinois, to Northwest Illinois. Now, I'm not sure how I'll be able to do this, but when the time gets closer, I will make a personal invitation. Let's try to do, maybe we can do a record crawl. I've been wanting to do this on and off for the last few years with some of the people up there in the VC. I'm not going to have a lot of money to spend. I know that. But I still would like to do it with you guys. The camaraderie and the talk and the exchanging and sharing and stuff would be priceless, I think, honestly. So, like I said, 600 sub contest. Go to my video, please. You'll see the rules and everything. Video, commenting on underneath. That'll get you slips of paper into the contest, which is only going to be 25 bucks. PayPal, probably. Alright. But that might be the last contest I'm going to do for quite a while. I know. I'm sorry that I sound like I'm on a downer. I don't mean to be, okay? Just a lot of things going on. I really love you guys, okay? I honestly do. You guys, my doing these videos for you, and for me too on the inside, have kept me at least a little bit sane. But hopefully next video, man, I've got so much backlog. I've had stuff to show you guys since November, and and it's April. I got so much to show. Anyways, we will be getting to it. Anyways, you take care, VC. Did you guys find any signed stuff recently? Put that in the comments. My Northern Illinois, Southern Wisconsin peeps, would you like to do a record crawl? Put that in the comments too. That'd be great. Take care. God bless. Rock on. I'll see you next episode.